And with that, let's dive right in. Dayton, welcome back. These episodes are fun. We get to look at the badges that we've got around our buildings. I know today we're talking about resilience. So maybe let's start with defining what resilience means to you, what it means to frequency. Because when I think of resilience, I think of, more mental toughness, right?
Yeah, sure.
At the same time, there's also a real physical attribute of resilience. So let's start with just tell our audience what resilience is and how it might play out in their own lives.
Yeah, no doubt. I think if I'm thinking of resilience, to me, it's physical, it's mental, it's spiritual. All these things are interlinked. And the key for me, it's bouncing back and facing adversity. So to me, resilience it's the way that your body, mind, spirit respond to a challenge in your life. And that challenge could be any number of things. It could be a tiny, minute stressor, all the way to a major, let's say, tragedy. All of these things cause your body stress. That body stress interacts with the stress of your mind because they're very interwoven. And resilience is the ability for your body to bounce back and, let's say, react as quickly, promptly, and accurately as possible. So when I think of a high resilience response to a stressor, it happens immediately and it happens in a way that's apt. So let's think of a specific example here. I think the easiest ones to understand narratively are emotional because it's not dealing with physical aspects of the body. But I think these emotional examples, what I'd say is just to keep in mind, the patterns are the same. So the structure to respond to resilience that I'll outline in this little anecdotal story, something is happening in your body that's equal power and responsibility for your reaction as the more obvious kind of signs that exist in your head. So when I think of two different positions of resilience, let's say you have a really important assignment, dog eats your homework. And resilience, like a resilient mind, it's the difference between within 1 second, you acknowledge the stressor, you process it, and you're able to maintain a sense of equanimity. So you're able to see the situation as it is and make the logical and let's say adaptive responses to the situation. Dog eats your homework. The adaptive response is not to scream at the dog. It's not to kick the dog. It's not to indulge in sense pleasures to get over the discomfort of this stressful event, but it's to look at it, feel your body and your mind respond to the stress, and take it from there with a level-headed approach. So building resilience is building your ability to respond to stressors in an adaptive way. There's a biometric marker called heart rate variability that's considered one of the pinnacle biomarkers, so the ways that you can measure resilience in your body in a physical way. And what heart rate variability measures is the minute differences in the distance in time between two heartbeats. So just for simple numbers, let's say your average distance between heartbeats is 1 second, 60 beats per minute. A high heart rate variability means that the difference between one beat might be an 85th of a second, while the difference between the next might be 1.07, while the difference between the next might be 0.91. And what that reflects in a really specific way, but in a way that people find to be generalizable over a lot of different traits, is it signifies that body's minute response to stressors or just events in the body. So it means that, wow, this heart and this body are reacting to something at a second by second basis and making variations in their approach to respond to that situation. And a high heart rate variability indicates quick responses to different instances that the body is picking up.
So almost like a capacity to respond to different things in different ways.
Yeah. I think that's very true. And the catch here that is just worth clarifying is it's really improper to compare your heart rate variability to another person's. People are wired differently enough where you notice really large gaps, and they're not totally sensical. Like, you might find somebody who's really level-headed in great shape. They still have a lower heart rate variability than some other person. So heart rate variability, it's a very personal spectrum. The value in heart rate variability is not to compare yourself against the masses, but to get an idea of your personal range. And when you can do that, you can see how things change over time. Like, personally, after our air quality study, I tested a sleep monitor that collects my heart rate variability while I sleep. And I find it really interesting to look at that data day over day, because I usually find it's a really accurate reflection of the amount of stress that I've been under, the physical load that I've put on my body, things like that. And it also reflects very emotional things. So, like, I'll notice a really strong emotional event in my life, nothing physical, but just to prove this link, I can think of two instances, one where my heart rate variability tanked that night, and it was way beyond any standard deviation. And there was another one, which is basically the converse of the first situation, where my heart rate variability skyrocketed. And both of those were completely normal days in my physical life, in my work life, in nutrition. It was just these personal events in my life that really strongly affected my biology, the way that my body was feeling and the stresses that it was under.
Let's talk about the connection between our environment and resilience.
Yeah.
How can we, or, what's generally, what types of designs or amenities or what aspects of the environment can have an impact on our resilience overall?
Absolutely. I think the ways that I see it, the modern urban environment is riddled with chronic stressors. So the way that we evolve to perceive ecosystems and the environment around us, it's pretty wild how our brains subliminally look for these cues that are no longer accurate to our lifestyles.
Right.
So you talked about this in your interview with Dr. Taylor about fractals, and how fractals signify our subliminal seeking of natural patterns in the environment. And the hypothesized reason for that is because when we evolved, it was really adaptive if we could tell that an environment had been tampered with. So you could see if there was a predator there recently, or maybe something to hunt. Either way, those would be triggers of cortisol, because you want your energy up and you want to feel strong and ready to attack. Either if you're defending yourself or hunting for your tribe. So the issue now is that the urban environment does not align with our natural tendencies at all. So it is riddled with things that subliminally, chronically stress us out. And one way that we can adapt our environments to that biological truth of ours is to add more patterns, more elements of geometry, more colors that align with our preferences and the things that will calm us. So seeing those fractal patterns on the carpet, on the ceiling, that will calm us down. Seeing more natural curvature and less rectilinear shapes is going to remove a chronic stressor from our environment. Because if you think about it, where is a rectangle in the forest? It doesn't exist. Whereas curvature is everywhere, and the fractal growth pattern of nature is abundant.